Kong toys. You've all seen them. You've all probably got one. Today, I'm going to show you how to stuff it fast, easy, and so it works. Ian here with Simpawtico Dog Training. And before we start stuffing Kongs, please make sure you're subscribed so you never miss any of our videos. And don't forget to check the description below for notes, links, and resources about the stuff we talk about. Now, a Kong toy can be a great tool to keep your dog busy and to help you teach your dog important skills. But with all the recipes on Pinterest and the blogosphere, it can be kind of a pain to figure out what works. And even after all that effort, your dog might just be like, meh. Look, I'm a big advocate of the KISS principle, or keep it simple, stupid. There's no need to overcomplicate things, and in my opinion, most of the products and recipes out there complicate a very simple idea. Another big concept you're going to hear several times is that it's not what it is, it's what you've trained it to be. If your dog isn't into it, we don't give up and move on to the next gimmick. We train them to be into it. We train them to love it. You ready to do that? Let's dive in. Selecting Kong toys is as easy as heading down to the pet supply store and picking some out. There are some details to keep in mind though. For one thing, Kong toys don't hold as much as you think they do. My rule of thumb is to pick up the one that looks right and then buy the next size up. Additionally, I've seen dogs give up out of frustration if they can't get it easily enough. One size up will make for a bigger hole and, at least in my experience, seem to help the dog buy into it a lot more readily. That leads us to the second point. Don't buy just one. Get 4 at the minimum. That way you have them on reserve so you can fill, use, wash, and rotate. Otherwise, if you're not paying attention, you'll get caught without one ready when you need it. The red classic Kongs are pretty standard. The black ones are the toughest for super chewers. All the other colors are about the same as the red ones as far as toughness goes. Also, there are several types of toys like it. The classic Kong isn't the only one out there. The PetSafe Squirrel Dude is also very good. The Kong Biscuit Ball can be used with a raw diet. The Premier Busy Buddy Football works well for treats or cheese sticks, and you can use this for short settle downs. Although undoubtedly, the classic Kong is the best made and the most durable and probably the most readily available. Forget about buying any of that stuff marketed in the pet stores to stuff a Kong. It's overpriced and it's basically just junk food, just like the human version. Seriously, is that stuff even food? Second, like I said, there are tons of recipes out there for all sorts of creative ways to stuff a Kong. And these are a much better alternative for sure. However, they're time-consuming and also largely unnecessary. If you enjoy doing it and you have the time for it, great! Knock yourself out! However, don't get into those bigger recipes unless you enjoy doing it. As a special treat on occasions, they're great, but do not fall into the trap of trying to up the ante or increasing the value of the stuffing in the toy to try and get the dog interested. You're coming at it backwards. It's not what it is, it's what you've trained it to be. So train the dog to love their Kong, and then you can stuff it with whatever you want. With this in mind, you'll save money and time, and you'll train your dog better if it's filled with a more commonplace ingredient, their own dog food. Since we're going to be using our dog's food, we need to measure it out. As a responsible owner, you should be monitoring their daily intake of food by having a routine but flexible feeding schedule and never free feeding. Free feeding is just shooting yourself in the foot as far as behavioral teaching goes. Don't be lazy. By simply using routine feedings, you're also starting to empower their normal food to be a training reward, which is a much better, more nutritionally balanced option than only using treats. This plays into strategic reward scaling, and I'll link to my article on that in the description. So measure out your dog's food for the day. Set out about 1/3 of it aside, moisten the rest, and spoon it into the toys. Then freeze it. That leftover third is used for training. Anyone in the family can take food out for training with this. If you plan ahead and prepare 3 or 4 toys at a time, they'll be on demand as you need them. Just be sure to keep up on the rotation. You don't want to be caught without any toys in the freezer and a hungry dog. When we first start chew toy training our dogs, they simply take their meals from the toy. A bowl is nice and convenient, but in these stages, it's a waste of opportunity. Save the bowl for down the road after we've got them hooked on their Kong. When you take a loaded Kong out of the freezer, place a dollop of something easy and tasty to start with over the big hole. Just smear some peanut butter, some plain yogurt, or some cream cheese over it. Now, they take their Kong meals in a crate or on a bed. Same place, every time. Routines are the backbone of training. As the dog works at it, the Kong thaws fairly quickly and food starts to fall out. The more they work, the more food they get. This is a self-rewarding activity. It's called auto-shaping because your dog's practically training himself at this point. All you did was engineer it to work and set it up. Right from the get-go, this is conditioning the dog to love being by itself. Chewing and eating at the same time releases a payload of endorphins into their brain like a huge pleasure bomb. As we progress, as your puppy gets older or your adult dog picks up the skill, we can go back to using the bowl and keep the food-filled Kong as the ace up your sleeve. Job number 1 is that it helps teach a dog to be alone. This one thing then solves a bunch of other problems like boredom, which always leads to mischief. Barking incessantly while you're away. Your neighbors will definitely appreciate this. Destructive chewing, such as your table legs and futon cushions. Raiding the trash. And bigger problems like isolation distress, which is commonly mistaken for separation anxiety. And of course, true separation anxiety, which can be debilitating for a dog. Training with an interactive toy like a Kong will also help you with settling down after being jazzed up. Or crate training and potty training for both puppies and newly adopted adult dogs. Attaching an anchor to a Kong gives you more options. Feed a string or rope through the small hole, knot it, and pull it tight. Now when you fill it, it will be frozen in place. Once the toy and their normal food is empowered, it can be tied to the inside of crates for crate training. It can be tied to trees in the yard for summer fun. Lots of possibilities open up once you got your dog hooked on a Kong. Stuffing a Kong won't do all of these things by itself. You do need some regular chew toys, and you do need to interact with your dog in other constructive ways. A properly stuffed Kong, though, will act as a force multiplier and help you get the job done much, much faster. Coupled with the chew toy training we talked about in the types of toys video, you solve about 90% of the most common behavior problems. So good luck, guys, and keep in touch. What are some other ways you've used a Kong, and what kind of questions do you have about it? Let's connect in the comments. Don't forget to check that description for notes, links, and resources, and thumbs up this video if you got some good info. As always, keep learning, keep practicing, and I will see you soon. Thanks for watching.